Season's greetings and welcome to our last episode of Casual Chats for 2025. I am Patricia and I'm here with a very special guest. You may know him for his work on Musicals with Cheese, the podcast that looks back on various musicals where one person is a huge fan and the other person doesn't really know too much about it. And currently he is a director and executive producer of Fosca Features, which is a local film studio where they do various films from mysteries and various other things. So I have with me Jesse McAnally. So welcome.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Yeah, so today we're going to be doing something Christmas related, and we're going to be dipping back to a topic that we did a few years ago where we talked about Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. But this time around, we're going to be doing something kind of unique where we're actually going to be taking a look at the musicals of A Christmas Carol. I mean, I'm sure that everybody and their mother has seen at least one adaptation of A Christmas Carol, and they've had debates on which is the best one. But I don't see a lot of people talking about which is the best musical adaptation. And so I brought with me a musical expert with me to dive deep into this. So this isn't the first time that you actually covered, Christmas Carol musicals before, has it, Jesse?
No, I have seen way too many of them. In fact, I love them. Even the worst ones, I think, are kind of great. I think even the worst adaptation of A Christmas Carol is kind of fun to watch. And the musical ones, I don't know. I feel like they're always someone's getting something right, and they rarely all hit all the same beats I think that they should. And my favorite one is rarely anyone else's. So I'm very grateful that you had me on to talk about this, because this is a hyperfixation I have. And I'm very grateful that we're kind of, sidestepping the Muppets of it all mostly. Where I like those, but everyone talks about the Muppets.
Yeah. I mean, even you did the Muppets Christmas Carol several years ago on your podcast.
Yes. I that's not my favorite musical version. That's everyone else's favorite. But
I get what they're saying. Yes, mostly because I think that let's get into this. But I think that for millennials and for people our generation, they probably associate that as like a major stepping stone to musicals based off of A Christmas Carol, as we'll delve into a little bit later on.
Of course. Now, what's your history with A Christmas Carol? Like, what was your gateway?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, so I was one of the very few people who actually read the book before looking at any of the adaptations.
Fascinating. So what made you pick up that book? Was it like
there was a bookstore that was like really close by where I was living at the time. I was living in New York City, and there was a bookstore that was nearby, and it was like an abridged version of A Christmas Carol. So it was like a truncated version of it. And I got it when I was like maybe, I don't know, like 7 or 8 years old or something like that, as a gift. And then after a while, I think I started watching like the other Christmas carols to kind of like get myself knowing the context of what I was reading. So I saw like Mickey's Christmas Carol, and I saw like several other ones. So yeah, I would say that there are some adaptations of A Christmas Carol that have become some of my all-time favorites, like the 1984 version, or my mom's favorite is the Hallmark version starring Patrick Stewart. I mean, there's a lot of different versions, but yeah, it's actually funny because I mean, I didn't see the Muppets Christmas Carol until like a little bit later on in my life, and I probably saw it when I was probably like in my college years. And then I started like watching, some other musicals of it. I didn't even see the 1970 version until like 15 years ago. So, I mean, I just started like getting myself acquainted with like knowing about musicals. And just literally, I saw like several of them that I've never even seen before doing this podcast.
That's fascinating. And which one do you think stands out as your favorite?
Oh, wow. Well, we'll get to that. But yeah, let's get into our contenders of what are the Christmas Carol musical adaptations we'll be talking about. Now, I know that there's going to be some people in the comments saying, why didn't you talk about this version? Why didn't you talk about that version? Well, there's a reason why. And I like to actually see the musical so I can get a context of what I'm going to connect the songs with. I'm not those people who like, I listen to the song by itself and then I watch the musical later on. I'm not one of those people. I know that there's some who are. So I've even heard some people saying like, oh, I listened to Hamilton, the soundtrack before I saw the musical. Although admittedly, I think like around 2005, 2006, I did see like somebody do like a an anime skit of some various characters from Naruto as performing the song "The Internet Is from Porn" from Avenue Q. So I do. I was curious as to knowing about what is going on here until I eventually saw the musical. So I'll give it that leeway, but still, it's I know that there are some musicals that are available on Spotify for people to listen to, but I wasn't able to see the actual musical itself. And I know that there actually are some parodies of A Christmas Carol that were adapted into musicals, like Mrs. Bob Cratchit's Wild Christmas Binge and The Misadventure of the Wholesome Twins and Dolly Parton's Smoky Mountain Christmas Carol. I didn't see any of those, and I mean the latter one is actually still touring as we speak, and I'm in the UK and I can't watch it. So yeah, we will not be covering those for those who are wondering about that. So these are our 10 contenders. The first one is the 1954 television special, which was part of an anthology series called Shower of Stars. The second one is another anthology series called the Alcoa Hour in 1956, and they aired The Stingiest Man in Town. Number 3 is the very first animated Christmas special ever made, which is Mr. Magoo's Christmas Special, based off of the character Mr. Magoo that was created by UPA. Number 4 is the 1970 adaptation of Scrooge, which was written by Leslie Percusey, who you may know as the same person who wrote the music for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Number 5 is the 1978 animated adaptation of The Stingiest Man in Town, produced by Rankin. Then jumping ahead to the 90s, we have the Muppet Christmas Carol. Number 7 is the Off-Broadway version called A Christmas Carol the Musical, which has music by Alan Menken and Lynn Arabs. And then we have A Christmas Carol, a new musical, not to be confused with A Christmas Carol, the new musical, which is a thing that was released in 2015. Haven't seen that one, so we'll not be covering it. Number 9 is Scrooge, A Christmas Carol from 2022, which is an animated remake of the 1970 version of Scrooge. And finally, last but not least, is the newest musical adaptation as of this podcast, Spirited from 2022, starring Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. So yeah, it's a lot to take in, but we'll be talking about one bit at a time and give you our thoughts into it. So yeah, let's talk about A Christmas Carol from Shower of Stars, the anthology series from 1954. So yeah, I mean, it's basically just a, telling of A Christmas Carol, and it's, not really too much to say other than it was done in the 50s. It was shot live on television, and it was done by Desilu Productions, who you may know as the same people behind I Love Lucy and Star Trek. So yeah, I mean, let's give our thoughts into it. What did you think of this one?
I thought it was weird. I thought it was interesting. It is, I don't know, with a lot of these, I didn't know what I was getting into. As far as this one, the thing that really jumped out to me was the quality of the music itself.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, Bernard Herrmann did the score to this.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did do the score.
And it's absolutely incredible. The visuals weren't much to me. I'm not going to lie, I kind of binged all of these in a really big kind of night for myself. They are starting to blur together.
Yeah, I trust me. It was starting to blur together with me too. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So for this one, I was really just kind of the score is enchanting, but it is that 1950s kind of, it's like the old man voices that used to play at the beginning of Peter Pan or those classic Disney films. That is the style of choral voices that you hear.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, this one kind of washed over me.
It definitely washed over me too. And I understand that this is a very important piece of television history where, it was the first broad, musical version of A Christmas Carol. And this isn't the first time there was a Christmas Carol adaptation that aired on TV. 1943 also had one, and Vincent Price was the narrator. So, I mean, it is true that this isn't the first time it was televised, but yeah, I mean, we've come a long way from having televised adaptations of theatrical productions or even famous plays or even famous novels. So yeah, it definitely does show its age. That's for sure.
Remind me again, when did this air?
1954.
So this is about the same time as this, right after the Mary Martin, Peter Pan kind of live television performances that were kind of common at the time. And
Yeah.
I think this is not quite in the same vein as that, where Mary Martin's Peter Pan was like so much odd going on there that is sticking with the cultural landscape, where here it's just like a fairly well done production of Christmas Carol, where the really, like, if you look this up, the most of the things that really come up is the landmark and Bernard Herrmann's music.
Yeah. And Basil Rathbone is Jake Marley's ghost. But yeah, we'll get to Basil Rathbone in a minute because he's actually relevant for the next Christmas Carol adaptation we're going to be talking about. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, there are several songs in this production, and I mean, they're not very memorable, to be quite honest. I mean, I actually find them to be kind of a bit repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you.
I completely agree, because I don't think Bernard Herrmann was a songwriter. He
didn't write the songs. It was
stories.
Maxwell Anderson who wrote the songs.
Was it really?
Bernard Herrmann did the conducting of the music.
So he was just conducting of like.
Yeah, he was just conducting the music. Yeah, Maxwell
pieces?
Anderson wrote the songs, and he was a well-known playwright who did things such as What Price Glory, Both Your Houses, and The Bad Seed. So yeah, I mean, it was just Bernard Herrmann just did the orchestral background music.
Fascinating. Okay. All right. But then I really have no justification for it. I appreciate it, but like even for the time, I was not compelled by the visuals and not particularly impressed by it. And not that there was no effort, but I was, once again, this one just kind of washed over me. And even like doing like a mental check of like what stood out, what was the big things. I'm getting pieces of the other ones. I'm getting pieces of Jason Alexander creeping into my lexicon.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I mean, again, I think that people do need to see it just for like the cultural significance of it being like one of the first televised adaptations of A Christmas Carol. But yeah, when it comes to like the presentation and the music and the choreography and the songs, and yeah, it's not really much to say in terms of like something that particularly stands out from it. So yeah, I mean, I would just say, watch it as like a piece of history. But if you're like looking for like, oh, I'm interested in watching like an obscure musical based off of A Christmas Carol, this is not one that I would immediately say, go check this one out. Yeah. So
if we were ranking on a tier list, what would you put it? Like A, B,
a
C,
tier
D?
list. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So how do we rank it high? Like what's the high and the low point of the tier list?
I think A, B, C, D. Like, let's remove S and F from it. So D would be the lowest, A would be the highest.
Okay, so D would be lower, A would be highest. Okay. It's not terrible. I'll say that. It's not terrible, but I would just say it's pretty forgettable, and it's not something that I would tune into ever again. So I probably put it like maybe low C tier.
You got it. Sorry, I'm keeping a list. I'm putting myself to work here. We're gonna keep updated as we go. All right, what we got next?
Okay, well, what are you gonna put it under?
I think C is very fair. Honestly, I was aiming for high D's.
Okay, well, yeah, it's low C, high D. That sounds about fair. All right, so let's go over to our next adaptation. So 2 years after this one, the Alcoa Hour aired The Stingiest Man in Town. And yeah, again, this is, a take on A Christmas Carol. And yeah, they actually have some different songs in there. And again, it's different presentation. This was actually lost for over 50 years until the year 2011 when it was discovered and somebody posted it online. So this was like a lost piece of media for decades. And the only way that people were able to see this adaptation of The Stingiest Man in Town was either if they went to go see it on Broadway or if they saw the Rankin Bass version, which we'll talk about in just a minute. So yeah, this was an anomaly for a long time until just like 15 years ago when somebody posted it online, and now everybody knows about it.
I love this one. This is a wacky one to say. I think this one was wonderful.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot better than the Shower of Stars version, that's for sure.
I don't know, just like the presentation of it, like they were leaning fully into like the stage aspect of it. It is properly creepy. Like the ghosts are terrifying in a way of like cryptids. Like you see those people on the internet like playing like lost media. Like I just imagine the screenshots from this being like, this is the only frame we have of this lost special. And it's like, and altogether, I think the performances really worked for me too.
Yeah. And Basil Rathbone, where he played as Jacob Marley's ghost in the Shower of Stars adaptation. This time he plays as Scrooge himself, and he does a great job.
He looks the part, like in a way, like he looks frail and kind of skinnier. He has like the facial construction of like what I imagine a Scrooge should look like.
Yeah. And also the musical numbers, they're actually pretty good too. I mean, there's actually several songs that really encompasses, the aspect of A Christmas Carol. You have like the opening song, you have Marley's song, you have, all the crowds of carolers singing about Scrooge himself. So, yeah, I mean, I think that some of the songs here are actually really well done. And we'll talk about the songs when we go over the song category. But I think that this is a pretty well done package. I mean, if you were to say, looking into like a Christmas Carol adaptation done by an anthology series, then yeah, I would say check this one out. And, it's a shame that it was lost for so long. And now finally people are discovering it and seeing how much of a pretty good production it was for its time. And the fact that they were able to perform this live, and this was like a live production where, there were like multiple cameras doing different shots and different transitions so that the actors can be able to perform the characters. And, people were like watching this on their TVs and just seeing it in action. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure that people who, weren't able to like go see a stage show were able to like see it on television. And this was kind of like a novel concept back in 1956.
And the production quality is so high for something done like that. Like if you compare this to like early Twilight Zones, which were also done live, or a lot of those others, the set design and all those aspects, the rehearsal time. Well, I hate to use this as a comparison, but think about Christopher Walken in Peter Pan.
Oh, God!
How these are professionals nailing this like half a century before that.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting point. It's like, how do you have like such lavish productions with great choreography and music and some of the best actors of its time, and then you just go in 50 something years later, and it's like you just get the bare minimum, and people are just putting in just an autopilot acting performance. That's pretty sad to think about.
It just shows the difference of how we relegate our art from the previous century to this century, and just the creativity of using limitations of television to play with theatrical concepts in a very way. Like I remember like this scene in the middle when Scrooge is talking to his love, and there's like a wall being built between them, literally.
Oh yeah, the wall of gold. Yeah.
I loved it. It's one of those visual motifs that I've never seen in another adaptation, and it's so effective. And it's such a theatrical device, a non-literal thing, and I don't know, it was really great.
Yeah, I mean, usually when it comes to the breakup between Scrooge and Belle, it would always be in Scrooge's office and he's counting his money, or they're walking around outside and she breaks up with him and then she leaves. So yeah, you have this wall of gold that is being constructed, which is originally supposed to be like a wall to build up their life. And then eventually it turns gold, and then it separates the two of them. And she sings about how heartbroken she is that Scrooge found another love, which is money, and so she leaves. So yeah, I mean, again, this is a metaphor that has not been done in any of the musical adaptations I've seen since, which is really interesting.
And as far as the Ghost of Christmas Future goes, I don't know how we're breaking this structure up, but I just love the dancing ghosts during that sequence.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. And also the way that you have the four lads who are the quartet, who are basically like narrating parts of what's going on in the story, and that would also carry on with the Rankin Bass version as well. So yeah, you have all of these things put together in, I would say, in a pretty good, structurally good story. And I think that the music is also really well done too. So yeah, I would say that if people are interested in checking this out, then they should. I mean, it's on YouTube, so you can easily watch it. So yeah, I recommend it. And yeah, like I guess we'll go into the cheer tier, as you say.
Yes.
Yeah, I do think that this is a pretty decent special, and I think that people do need to take a look into it. Now, I now as for like like in terms of like its production, it's really good. In terms of its music, it's really good. The acting is really good. So yeah, I would say I'll put it in like a high B tier.
You got it. And this was 56. I 100% agree. I don't know. Maybe I was just in a better mood when I watched this one. I was really enraptured with this, and I'd never seen the Stingiest Man in Town, the Rankin Bass version, or anything like that. The thing I do find curious is there are now two different Christmas Carol adaptations that I'm aware of that represent Father Christmas directly. Like, because he has Scrooge where he dresses up
there are
as Santa
actually
Claus.
songs from this where it actually sings about Santa, and we'll get to that when we talk about the songs list. But yeah, several of the early adaptations of the Christmas Carol musicals do mention Santa, which is really interesting. And also, there's mentions of God too, which, makes a lot of sense. And I'm not just referring to the God bless us everyone. Like they actually literally talk about God and the birth of Christ. So yeah, we'll get to those later on. But yeah, what's your tier on this?
Oh, I would probably put this. I'd probably put this in A. I really had a good time.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, A tier is pretty good. Yeah. All right, so let's go over our third one, Mr. Magoo's Christmas Special. It has the distinct honor of being the very first animated Christmas special ever made. Right before How the Grinch Stole Christmas, right before Charlie Brown's Christmas, this is the one that came out first. Yeah, I'm actually curious. Are you familiar with Mr. Magoo?
I am. He's everyone's favorite ableist icon. He will walk into walls.
Yeah. Walks into walls and gets himself into various hijinks and being completely stubborn about it and thinking that he's the best at everything. And yeah, I've already talked about my history with this character briefly because years ago I did a podcast on Wienerville with Manny Ortega's, and we basically talked about how in every segment of Wienerville there would always show cartoons, and this was at the time in which Nickelodeon had the rights to air Columbia cartoons and UPA cartoons. And so they air things like Mr. Magoo, they air things like The Alvin Show and various others. And so, yeah, Mr. Magoo was showcased a lot. And because of that, resurgence of popularity of Mr. Magoo in the 90s, that's how we got the live action movie starring Leslie Nielsen as Mr. Magoo.
And the thing is, all of that stuff with Mr. Magoo has almost little to do with the Christmas Carol adaptation because we kind of
it has literally nothing to do with it. It's just like maybe the beginning of it, which is this typical Mr. Magoo antics, and then maybe a bit towards the end. But for the most part, it's pretty much a telling of a Christmas Carol. And yeah, I mean that's basically what the special is. So Mr. Magoo plays as Mr. Scrooge in a Broadway show, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just him telling it straight, and no wacky hijinks of him with his nearsightedness on the stage, unless you go over to the final act, but then the show's over anyway. But yeah, it's just a straight telling of a Christmas Carol, and it also has its fair share of songs too. One that I didn't expect to see, which some of the other specials didn't have at the time, they actually have a song featuring Boy Scrooge. He sings a song called Alone in the World, where he is singing about how alone he is and how he misses being a part of a group of people. He doesn't have a family. All of his friends are gone for Christmas, and he's just sitting there really, really sad. And that's actually really touching to see that. And then it reprises again when he breaks up with Belle, in the reprisal song. And so, yeah, I mean, I would say that as a first animated Christmas special, it's not as remembered compared to, say, The Grinch or Charlie Brown. And I can understand why.
I agree. It also makes some baffling choices with the structure. I know we're not quite in the Ghost yet, but they do reverse the Ghost of Christmas Past and Present so that present happens first and past happens in the middle.
Yeah, that was weird.
I mean, if you're kind of being the first one to get a crack at this, do whatever you want, but I don't think it flows nearly as effectively.
Yeah, you can't just like
we've already
introduce
forgotten
Bob
about it.
Cratchit and then all of a sudden take him back to his childhood. That doesn't make any sense. There's a reason why the structure has always been past, present, future, not present, past, future. That doesn't gel very well. I don't know what they were thinking with that.
But aside from that, it is a generic adaptation of A Christmas Carol, and they'll hit all the beats that you think they will, and there's no real surprises until we get to the bows. I'm just baffled that Mr. Magoo could make it to Broadway.
Yeah.
Broadway is not the most effective place for people with disabilities.
No, it's not. Yeah. And the fact that he was able to drive in his 1920s Ford Model T and he just crashes into it. And then he walks into an Italian restaurant, which just so happens to be next door. And then finally, when he does get to the stage, he's 30 minutes late and they're still waiting for him anyway. And yeah, I mean, it's, like literally, I mean, you have like the beginning and the ending part, which is basically classic Mr. Magoo. And I just feel so bad for the director. He's the butt monkey of this special where he gets injured for literally no reason. Like, he's waiting for Mr. Magoo. He's being really patient with him. And then all of a sudden you have all of the sets and the sandbag just crashing into him. It's like, that's actually pretty harmful. That's not funny.
I agree. But also that is a good representation of what it's like to be a director.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it is, but I'm sure that you don't get like your sets and sandbags falling into you every so often because you have a incompetent, nearsighted actor with you.
There's always tomorrow.
Fair enough. Yeah, so as for the music, I'm sorry to say that I can't really remember the songs in this. I mean, I know that some people fondly remember this special when they grew up with it, and there's some people who even said that Alone in This World and Winter Was Warm was a highlight song for a lot of people when tuning into it. But I'm sorry, as somebody who watched this for the first time, I didn't really get too much out of it.
I get the ringle, ringle, coins when they jingle, like that.
Oh yeah, that
yes. Until the end of time. Everything else, yeah, I kind of agree.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why is because they sing that song multiple times. And also, it does make a lot of sense in the context of Scrooge because money. So yeah, cheer tier. Look, I understand that this is a very important piece of television history. First animated special ever to air, first animated Christmas musical ever to air. But yeah, I mean, we've come a long way since then. And I'm gonna have to put this in again, very similar to Shower of Stars, in which it's significantly important for people to check out. But looking at it today as its own thing, not really worth mentioning. So I'll put it around the same tier as that. I'll put it like low C, high D tier.
I agree.
All right. Next one. So 1970 adaptation of Scrooge, which the music is written by Leslie Percusey, and you can definitely tell they were trying to cash in on Oliver.
Yeah, it feels that way, but however, I like this better than Oliver, so I'm winning.
Yeah. I definitely do agree, especially since you have Leslie Percusey writing the music. And if you know from, this musical as well as, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, he writes some of the most whimsical and magical songs that makes you feel so uplifting and happy. And when it needs to be dark, it will get dark. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a telling of A Christmas Carol where we have Albert Finney as Scrooge and Alec Guinness as Jacob Marley. And yeah, I mean, it's, the music of this is really great. Like the opening orchestral of Sing a Christmas Carol is amazing. And some of the characters have, great songs in there. Production's really great too. And I mean, I can understand why this has stood the test of time for a lot of people. So yeah, and also I'm not too surprised that there is an animated remake that came out decades later.
I wish that didn't happen, but I also have a great appreciation for this. I think the thank you very much sequence ranks among the top 20 musical theater sequences on film for me. I think that is just such a good, dark kind of sardonic scene that sums up the entire vibe of what this is going for. I enjoy that Alec Guinness drags Scrooge to hell at the end. And we get to see what hell is like a little bit. Necessary, maybe not. Do I enjoy it? Yes.
Well, I mean, it definitely does get the point across, especially since every single adaptation of A Christmas Carol, you have Scrooge seeing his gravestone, and then he says, I'm going to change. Then he wakes up. This time he's actually dragged to hell. You have these big buffy guys carrying the chains, and then he's wrapped around it, and then he is actually, up against a hot pipe. So he is in the coldest part of hell, and with a hot pipe on him, and then he's wrapped around in really heavy chains. That really just gets the message across.
And I love hell. It's just like this weird kind of edgy looking red dungeon place. And I just love how catty Alec Guinness is about everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also the way that the ghosts were featured. I mean, you can definitely tell that in like the specials, the anthology series, that they were trying to make the ghosts a little bit more scarier, but they didn't have the effects and they didn't have the technology to do it back then. But yeah, here they were able to play a lot into it, and it does look pretty eerie and creepy when you have Jacob Marley taking Scrooge up to see all the ghosts, and they just have these like eerie faces on them, and it just gives you like a bit of a spook to it.
It does, but it is like that theatrical kind of stage play presence that a lot of the rest of the musical doesn't exactly have.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, this came out in 1970, so wasn't this kind of like at the tail end of when musicals were starting to like die down?
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think this did not do great at the box office. It cost $5 million to make and only made $3 million.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense because didn't Hello Dolly come out a year before this?
Yeah, musicals were passe and we weren't quite at the cabaret. Let's reinvent this.
Yeah, so it makes a lot of sense why there was not a lot of call for this movie.
But a couple years after this, we'd have Fiddler on the Roof, which would make a lot of money and then win Best Picture and do all these other things. So, I don't know. Culture is hard to read. Ebbs
and flows, I would say, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I do actually enjoy this special, and I really do like the lavish production in this, and I also do enjoy the fact that you really do feel for the characters. And like I said, I mean, very similar to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, you definitely get to feel the Christmassy vibe on some of the songs in this. And yeah, I mean, this came out like 1 year before Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So you can definitely see Leslie Percusey just giving his whimsiness into a lot of these songs.
100%. And, I just think that the director, who also directed Oliver, Ronald Neame, really directed the shit out of this and really kind of brought a lot of energy and love and just reused a lot of sets that were probably already used for Oliver.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes a lot of sense because Oliver was really popular, and I guess they really wanted to bite into the same apple of like, hey, Oliver was really popular on stage, and let's see if we can do the same thing where we adapt A Christmas Carol. Who knows? Maybe if this would have caught on, maybe we could have seen Nicholas Nickleby the musical, or The Mystery of Edwin Drew the musical, or David Copperfield the musical. But no, it never came to be.
No. Where would you rank it on your tier list?
A tier.
I agree.
Yeah, I really like this one. The music is great, and all the acting is fantastic, and the set pieces are really well done. So yeah, I really like this one. All right, so yeah, going into what we were saying earlier about like musicals not really catching on around the 70s, let's skip over to 1992 with The Muppets Christmas Carol. At this point, I don't think we really need an introduction for this.
No, it's a good movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Paul Williams did the music for it. He also did the music for the Muppet movie. And so, yeah, I mean, the music here is just as good as the Muppet movie. I mean, there's a lot of memorable songs in this, and a lot of people fondly remember this. I've seen so many articles and so many videos saying about like how this is the greatest Christmas Carol adaptation. I don't agree, but I will say it's definitely one of the most unique because it has one human actor and the rest of them are Muppets. So I will give it that. It is very unique.
It is the easiest one to just throw on. Like, I think it's the best way to describe it. Like, not that, like, I think it's a good movie, well done, but the best one. Come on, guys. I mean,
yeah, I get it. I mean, like,
else, but.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's funny, it's dark, and it has great music, and it really tugs at your heartstrings, and it's very lively, and it's Muppets. I mean, that is an automatic, good thing to feature in, the reason why people love this movie. So, yeah, I mean, I actually do enjoy it, and the music is fantastic. Michael Caine does a great Scrooge. So, yeah, I mean, there's not really much I could say until we go over to the music segment. So yeah, let's go over to Cheer Tier on this.
Yep, I'm giving it A. I feel like you're giving it A.
Yeah, I'm giving it an A. Yeah. All right, let's go over to our next one. So, A Christmas Carol, the musical, the off-Broadway version from 1994, which has music written by Lynn Ahrens and it was composed by Alan Menken. So, this was at his Disney Renaissance phase, and this was around the time in which when off-Broadway shows were starting to become a lot more popular. I mean, this was actually came out the same year actually as the Beauty and the Beast musical. So, he was actually working on that one too. And then in 2004, there is the Hallmark Entertainment TV movie that came out of it. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on this one?
I love this one. This is what mine. Like, this is the one where I'm like, I can't be objective. I watched this one so much. This is my go-to one.
Okay.
I know it's not accurate to the book. It is not, like, it makes a lot of big choices, but I don't know what it is about it. It keeps calling me back. It is kind of cheesy, cheap, and all those things. It is like playing with like stars of the time. Like, oh, we've got Jennifer Love Hewitt for a half day. Let's throw her in there. Kelsey Grammer's big from Frasier. Come on down. Jason
Alexander. We just finished Seinfeld. Come on down. Let's have you in there.
30 Rock's getting big. All right, let's put you in there, Jane Krakowski. Good luck. Jesse L. Martin, Law and Order, Rent, let's go. Like, I see all the problems, but I really like this score. I think Alan Menken really put something together. I really like listening to the off-Broadway cast recording a lot. I think that they've got some really cool vocals, but me and my brother watch this all the time off of a taped version on NBC, and that was our go-to way to watch it.
I literally just watched this for the first time just a few days ago.
I bet you did not love it as much as I am claiming to, and that's fine.
No, it's not that I didn't love it. It's just that, some of the changes that were implemented into the Christmas Carol story was a little bit eyebrow raising. I will admit that. I do admit though that the music is, some of the music is actually pretty good. There are some really good music in there, but then again, you have Alan Menken and Lynn Ahrens, so it's not too much of a surprise. I mean, you have Alan Menken who, composed some of the best Disney songs of the 90s. And then you have Lynn Ahrens, who did things, she did Rocky the Musical. She did Anastasia the Musical. And so, yeah, I mean, you have, those two people coming in together and boom, you have a Christmas Carol adaptation. And yeah, I mean, the story structure is questionable, especially for those who are wanting to see a more accurate telling of the book. But I mean, I didn't think it was like terrible or anything like that. I mean, especially since I really did like the music. I mean, I do admit that the casting choice was odd, to say the least. I mean, I do get Kelsey Grammer, with him being in Frasier. I do get Jason Alexander for being on Seinfeld. And, all of these other actors at the time, some fit their roles, others don't, and it sticks out like a sore thumb. But the stuff that I do like about it is the music. And isn't the music what people are tuning into in the first place?
100% agree. And I also think like they picked actors that are famous but are known for Broadway pedigree. Like Kelsey Grammer has been Sweeney Todd. Jason Alexander's first job was in Merrily Roll Along. Jane Krakowski had been in Nine and many other Broadway shows at this point. Jesse L. Martin, obviously a part of Rent. It is a well-founded theatrical cast that all do serviceably at worst. Kelsey Grammer probably being the least effective at that. But there are moments which I've never seen in any other adaptation of A Christmas Carol. Like we see the death of Jacob Marley. I don't think I've ever seen that
Yeah, I've
represented
never seen that
on
either.
screen.
That was actually really interesting. Where we that's one of the few things that I did actually enjoy whenever that people actually change the story a little bit. I mean, it's actually funny because a lot of people love the 1984 Christmas Carol adaptation with George C. Scott as Scrooge, and they did a lot of changes to that. But some of the changes that they did to it was expand the story and show off more of the backstory of Scrooge and seeing a different perspective that wasn't in the book. And people praise it for that. And I can see where people would praise that part of the story where we get to see a little bit more of Jacob Marley, where we get to see how, him and Scrooge have known each other for a long time. In fact, that's really interesting. That's something that, again, I've never seen in this adaptation, where Marley apparently was working with Scrooge and they've known each other ever since with Fezziwig. And I thought, okay, interesting choice. And then eventually when we got to see Marley and Scrooge together and then partnering up all the way from their youth all the way until his death, and you get to see him die of a heart attack, and then you get to see how the old Scrooge is like checking on Jacob to see if he's okay, and then you have like the Scrooge who's watching saying like, my only friend is dead. And it's like, oh, that's really heartbreaking. That's one of the very few times that's not, him seeing Marley's ghost, where he actually thinks about Marley saying, wow, this was my friend, other than he was my business partner.
And it's an interesting take, but I also can see the argument of like, well, we want to show that he didn't have any connections. I don't like it when they play Scrooge too evil. I think he and Marley being actual friends is a much more interesting dynamic to play than they were business partners, in my opinion.
Sure. I mean, again, I can understand that it's trying to build the backstory of Scrooge, where we actually do get to see more of this character. And again, interesting direction that they decided to put into this, where it actually borrows from Dickens's story, where we have, Scrooge's father being locked up in jail and sent away to debtor's prison, which actually happened to Charles Dickens in real life, where his dad was locked away in debtor's prison, and Charles Dickens hated his father for that for the rest of his life. Go watch The Man Who Invented Christmas to learn more information. So yeah, Scrooge's mother's alive. Okay, I mean, I get it, because
Played by Ruthie Henschel of Les Miserables.
Yeah, there you go. And, she has a song to sing for Scrooge and Fan. And, you have Scrooge's father saying, don't spend your money, keep your money, and, save it away. And, don't, that way, while he's walking away to debtor's prison. So it actually brings a reason on why Scrooge is such a miser, because his father was locked up in jail because he couldn't pay off his debts. And then he had to work in all of these workhouses, and each one of them got worse and worse and worse. Well, he was separated from Fan because his mom died shortly after her husband was locked in jail. And so we even have a moment in which, after Scrooge and Marley start off their business and Fezziwig is not doing very well with his bank, they cut him off saying no. And I thought, wow, he treated you like his son, and yet you decided to just write him off. That is a dick move.
And it shows like change, and it feels gradual. It doesn't feel like he was always kind of destined for this in the way that a lot of other adaptations tend to show. I like that we see like the moneylender work quite a bit in this adaptation too, because I never really understood Scrooge's job in other ones, because it's not really the important part of the story. I also wanted to highlight the Broadway pedigree in the small, minuscule roles.
Sure.
We of course have Ruthie Henschel as Scrooge's mother. We have Lindsay Haley as Mrs. Cratchit, which in a small role, but you remember her from the Carrie musical adaptation. You also have, I'm trying to remember his name because it really should be at the top of my head. The gentleman that plays Fred, he's like one of the best Broadway singers ever, and I can't think of his name. Gosh darn it. Come on. Julian Ovenden, one of the best Broadway voices ever as Fred. And they give Fred a lot of play in this adaptation. They give him like his own song, his own motif.
Yeah.
And it's connected to his sister. There's a lot of smart musical work being done here. I could go on for hours about this adaptation. I love it.
Yeah.
But we got a lot more to do. Watch it on Tubi, kids. That one would go into A for me. Okay. I'm sure it wouldn't for you.
Probably not. I would put it in maybe B. Probably because of the casting choices, and also because of the way that they changed the story, that did make a lot of sense. Like, the fact that he was able to meet up preemptively with the spirits before he actually got the dream. It's like, okay, he met up with the woman who was lighting up the candles. He met up with the guy who was promoting the charity play, and then he met up with the old blind woman. And they are the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and Christmas yet to come. And I'm like, okay, so he met up with them before the events, and then he would see them later on after he changed his ways. And I'm like, okay, interesting. So yeah, probably not in the same tier as yours, but I get why you like it so much.
Yeah, and I like that for the Wizard of Oz kind of nonsense that they tend to play with. And if it's on a stage, I bet it probably works a little better than it does in the film.
Probably, yeah. It would be really interesting to actually see this on stage. I'm sure it works great on stage. But yeah, I where I'm at, I can't see it, and I don't even know if it is on stage currently. Is it?
No, but a lot of local theatrical productions put it on.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense.
I know in 2001, like Tim Curry was Scrooge, and they did a small performance at that year's Macy's parade, and I'm like, man, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that in full.
That would be awesome, actually. All right, so let's go over to our next one. So, A Christmas Carol, a new musical, not to be confused with the new musical from 2015, but yes, a new musical, which has music by Keith Ferguson. So, yeah, this is on stage, and I was able to see like a church perform it on YouTube, which is how I was able to get the context of it. And so, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I don't really have too much to say about this one. It just plays it pretty straight. Like, it is literally a telling of A Christmas Carol with original music with a mixture of classical Christmas songs. So, yeah, nothing much to write home about on this one.
I 100% agree. It's another one where, it's the basics.
Yeah, it's literally just basic. I mean, it is literally just a basic telling of A Christmas Carol that is to the T, like no changes or alterations, and they just put music in there just, to mix it up a bit, and that's it. That's literally it.
As far as aesthetics go, I really like when he sees his grave. It's like 9 feet tall, so that the people in the back row can see it.
Yes, he has an obelisk for a grave.
I'm like, man, he really spent his last dime going into that grave.
That's the reason why he didn't leave anybody his money, because he spent it all on his grave. Yeah.
But aside from that, I don't got much to say.
I don't got anything. Yeah, I'm going to put this probably, because I have nothing to say about it, I'll probably just... I mean, at least all the other ones, they actually try to do something different to it. So, I mean, it's probably that forgettable where I mean, I know that some people, they have their argument saying they shouldn't alter or change things. But if you don't alter or change things, then what's the point? You might as well just look at the original source material anyway. So it literally just brings almost nothing to the table. So this is probably my first one in D tier.
I don't know. You put Mr. Magoo in D tier.
Oh, that's true. I did. But I would say in the bottom of D tier, because at least Mr. Magoo and the Shower of Stars adaptation, at least they did something different to it.
I agree.
I'm putting it at the bottom of D.
You got it. What do we got next?
Okay, the next one. So, okay. The animated musical from Scrooge, A Christmas Carol from 2022. I talked about this years ago with my sister when we did an Advent podcast called 25 Days of Christmas. This was brand new when it first came out. And now that I had to see this again, yeah. Wow. Oh, gosh.
They give Scrooge a cute dog.
Yeah. They gave Scrooge a dog. I mean, wow. Okay, what does a dog have anything to add in this adaptation of A Christmas Carol?
I'm gonna say brings him a little closer to being the Grinch, as opposed to being
that's actually
Scrooge.
Interesting, because I've seen reviews of Illumination's Grinch, and they said the same thing, where it's this is less Grinch and more Scrooge, and in this adaptation, this is less Scrooge and more Grinch. So it's
yes,
yeah.
It's got Interesting choices. A great cast. I really like the cast. I like Luke Evans. I like Jesse Buckley. I like Jonathan Pryce. Like there's things
Yeah,
to be
the
liked
cast
about
is
the
good.
cast.
Yeah, the cast is good, and they actually added some new songs into this adaptation. They brought back some of the fan favorites, so I will give
Yes.
it that. Animation
Oh,
wise, it's very caricature. It's colorful, but I don't expect colorful in a Christmas Carol.
I wouldn't mind it. Like the colors are not the problem for me. Like I that if you're gonna make choices, that's an interesting one to make. That's a fine enough one to make. I'm sure this looked good on the green screen, despite our big screen, despite going directly to Netflix.
Yeah.
But it feels like it's trying to be a Polar Express or Robert Zemeckis' Christmas Carol, where we're like everything is gonna shake you all around. We're gonna go all over the place, and wild things are gonna be happening. I just didn't enjoy the rock
Yeah,
vibes.
I didn't really enjoy it
enjoy
as much either.
anything.
Now that I've seen it for the second time in several years, I actually like it less than I saw it the first time. So yeah, I'm not too keen on this one actually. I mean, things that you could have seen and heard from Scrooge: A Christmas Carol, you could just watch this 1970 adaptation. You would just probably get more than what you got here.
And it's short. Like it's
It is
87
short,
minutes,
yeah.
like without before the credits, and I felt every one of them.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, cheer tier. How do we rank this?
I'm putting it in D for me.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably put it in low C, high D. It's not abhorrent, but there's much better adaptations to watch.
I just hate how they tried to make Scrooge hot. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he's a little too attractive, and he's got like these moody ballads. I'm like, they're trying to make him. They're once glorificating
Oh
the
God.
Scrooge.
Oh man, this is kind of like the what you call it, like that Disney princess syndrome, in which like you see a guy who's troubled and who's an asshole. It's like I can fix him.
Yes.
God, I never thought I would talk about that with Scrooge of all characters.
I can fix him, said the ghost.
Okay.
Which I think leads into the next one pretty well.
It actually does, yeah, because adding into, oh wait, before we get into that one, we actually completely missed out on one. We forgot about the Rankin Bass version of the Stingiest Man in Town.
I don't remember. I did not remember that I missed that.
I literally didn't either until I just looked through my list, and it's like, oh, we forgot to talk about the animated version of Stingiest Man in Town. So yeah, this was done by Rankin Bass, and it's not Animagic, which was, what the thing that they were known for at the time. It's traditionally animated, very similar to Frosty the Snowman, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, and Cricket on the Hearth.
Movies.
And yeah, this one is, this was the only way that people were able to see an adaptation of Stingiest Man in Town for decades until, once again, they were able to find a recording of Stingiest Man in Town, the 1956 version, in 2011 and upload it on YouTube. So yeah, I guess before we get into that special, so Rankin Bass, what are your thoughts on them?
I love it. I think they're great trash. They're wonderful. My co-host Andrew and I watched every one of the Animagic Christmas specials 2 or 3 years ago, and I enjoy them. They're a great amount of fun. Once a year.
Yeah.
Once a year. This one was not one that I had watched. This is not one I have nostalgia for. And I gotta be honest, this is not one that drew me in. The proper actual Lost special I loved. That was great.
Okay.
It was wonderful. Yeah. This was not bringing me in.
Okay.
And
yeah, so Walter Matthau is so Walter Matthau is Scrooge in this, and you have an additional character in here, B.A.H. Humbug, because every Rankin Bass adaptation or every Rankin Bass Christmas special always have to have an unnecessary character to join alongside with the main one for reasons. And yeah, he absolutely
Scrooge,
contributes
the new musical.
Yeah, of course, and he contributes absolutely nothing. And they basically just brought the same songs from the Alcoa Hour, and they brought it in here, except it's truncated. It is 45 minutes, while as the original Stingiest Man in Town was an hour and 27 minutes. And yeah, you can feel the rush of it like easily.
And it just, the animation is not charming in the way that the Animagic is, or even like Frosty the Snowman and stuff. I think it's kind of an eyesore to look at.
Okay.
Especially
I guess it makes a lot of sense because
bug.
they were trying to caricaturize it because it is Christmas Carol. So they were trying to change up the animation style. They also did the same thing with Cricket on the Heart, which is another Charles Dickens adaptation that they did the same animation style, and it's even worse. Oh man, I saw every single Rankin Bass Christmas special. I saw all 19 of them, and oh boy, it ebbs and flows depending on which one it is. Like, I mean, you would get like, you know, the classics like Rudolph and, you know, Year Without a Santa Claus and Santa Claus is Coming to Town, but then you get like the really bad ones like Cricket on the Hearth and you Santa Baby and various other ones. Like those are really bad. But yeah, I would say that this, I actually do enjoy this one a little bit more. I think from what I remember doing that list of my top 5 favorite and least favorite, I think I put it at number 7, I think, because all the other ones were just like so middle of the road for me. But yeah, I think that I do like the music in this. And yeah, I think the thing that is holding it back is the short run time, the addition of BAH Humbug, and the animation, which yeah, it definitely does look really cheap, especially at the time. I mean, this came out in 1978, and then you have you know, various other animated specials that came out, you know, a decade beforehand, and they look way better than this. And I understand, you know, Rankin Bass had to deal with a small budget and they had to work with what they got. I get it. And some people find it charming, but I find the stop motion stuff more charming than their animated, their 2D animated stuff. I never really got into their 2D animated stuff.
And also, Birthday Party for a King, which is, you know, the most overtly religious song like we've covered
that's true,
here.
Yes.
It doesn't feel that jarring in the televised recording, maybe because it's longer and we kind of have a little bit more time to enjoy it. Here, it feels really shoehorned into there, and I did not like it. This special did not work for me at all. I would put it in D, low D for me.
Okay. I didn't hate it as much as you did, so I'll probably put it like a C tier because I mean it's definitely not as good as the other ones, but yeah, I mean if you are gonna see Stingiest Man in Town, definitely check out the Alcoa Hour version of it. Okay, now we can get into the final version, which is the 2022 musical Spirited. And oh man, after I saw this, it was like a breath of fresh air for me because it was like, oh my God, something different. I don't have to look at 19th century England anymore.
Yes.
But yeah, it actually takes place in modern times where we have the ghost of Christmas Present who sees somebody who is deemed as unredeemable, and he wishes to change his ways because he is this schemy, manipulative, charming asshole who is big on social media, manipulating people into getting what he wants. And you know, he thinks that he can change him because, spoiler alert for those who have never seen Spirited, the ghost of Christmas Present is Scrooge, and he wants to change this guy into somebody who is good and can be able to make a ripple effect of making other people feel good about themselves because that was what happened to him hundreds of years ago. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, this is a very different telling that I never would have expected to see where the guy Clint, who's played by Ryan Reynolds, when he's acting like a complete asshole and he's so manipulative and doing his stuff for his job, such as convincing people on why artificial trees, people buy them more than real trees, or convincing his niece to smear and do cancel culture on a classmate so she can run for class president. I mean, you have all of these things where he's awful, but when you listen to what he says on why he does it, it's actually a justified reason on what he's saying. It is actually pretty awful.
I agree, and it's not like an unredeemable character as far as movies go, but is a repellent human being as far as human beings go. And that's a very different thing, and this movie understands that, where we can still like and enjoy watching Ryan Reynolds despite the fact that he is a very bad human being. It rides that fine line that could have been very, very difficult to understand. Who would have thought the director of Sex Drive and Instant Family and Daddy's Home would direct one of the best looking and best shot musical movies of the last decade?
Wow, that's crazy to think about.
Like it looks good, it is effective, and I just it does the thing that I hate, where it's very embarrassed to be a musical. So every 5 seconds, it'll bring up the fact that they're singing and be like, "Stop singing," or "Wait, why are you singing at me?" It is like the oldest joke, and every time it makes me just sigh and pulls me out, because this does try to play with darker, more real themes at times, and I feel like that would hit a lot harder if they took their world just 5% more seriously.
Hmm. I guess it makes a lot of sense because I mean we're coming from like the same group of people who were fooled of the Mean Girls remake, and it turned out to be the musical, and people were just pissed off and walked out of the theater.
I mean, boo hoo. Like, do some research before going to a movie. I don't care about them. I'm not trying to impress them. If you're making a musical, which that is a risky thing to do, especially with that opening scene, that Christmas morning feeling, like that is a very intense statement of, look at us, we're a musical, we're going to sing and dance, get used to it, and they hold true to that.
Yes, they do. And yeah,
like,
I mean,
an hour into the movie, we could stop making the stop singing jokes.
well, I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, it's trying to heavily emphasize the fact that we're in this cynical time in which when we're just going to point out, stop singing. I mean, even Disney has done that to a degree at some point. I know. I know.
I like this movie a lot. I think it's good time. Great songs from we got Pasek and Paul. They do tend to play a lot with bullying a kid into suicide a lot. That is a theme that shouldn't be recurring in their work, but it does tend to be.
Yeah, that actually did caught me by surprise, especially since we know about when in A Christmas Carol we know that Scrooge finds out that Tiny Tim dies, but here it's like, oh no, the kid dies by suicide because of cancel culture. It's like, damn.
It was 2022 when this came out, correct? 2023?
Yes. Yeah,
2022. We were in a different world. It was a different time 3 years ago. I still think that has probably been the part of this that has dated the worst. I think nuance, thankfully, is kind of coming back a little bit. A little bit. Like, I think we are kind of good at contextualizing things between children and full adults.
Yeah.
And I also think the children nowadays have become evil in a way where they are not fighting over each other of who could be the most pure, but they are now becoming, the evil ones.
Yeah. Like, these are, we're not, hopefully going to be seeing kids who are going to be doing a good just for social media brownie points.
No, we're probably just going to see kids like, throw Molotov cocktails through their neighbors' yards. Kids are wacky nowadays.
Okay, let's score this cheer tier.
I'm giving it a B.
Yeah, I would say B. This was actually really good, and it definitely did surprise me. And it's funny enough because this movie didn't get a lot of great responses from critics. They didn't really care to it at all, which is not too surprising for me because they also did the same critiques for The Greatest Showman, which they also did.
See, this is a real movie where The Greatest Showman is a series of music videos. So that bothers me a little bit. Like, this has a plot and things it wanted to say. I don't know how effectively it did it, but I think this is better than a lot of musicals. Like, compare it to Camila Cabello's Cinderella. Like, this is Citizen Kane. I mean, it got a 70% of Rotten Tomatoes. That's fine. Like, that's better than I could have. Sure. It's like better than Daddy's Home or whatever.
Oh God, Jeff. Absolutely, yeah. Okay, so right before we choose our favorites, I guess one thing that I was sending you earlier was that I actually broke down a list of all of the songs and broke it into sections, and we're just going to look through them and choose which one did it the best. So let's take a look into intro songs. So this is the song that, brings us into the world of A Christmas Carol. So here are the nominees. We have On This Darkest Day of Winter from the Shower of Stars adaptation. Then we have A Christmas Carol from Stingiest Man in Town. Old Fashioned Christmas, also from Stingiest Man in Town. Then It's Great to Be Back on Broadway from Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. Sing a Christmas Carol from Scrooge, and also from the other Scrooge. And then we have the main title, which is from A Christmas Carol, the musical. And then finally, that Christmas morning feeling from Spirited. So which one of these intros encompasses it the best?
I think Sing a Christmas Carol from Scrooge encompasses it the best. Yes. I think that Christmas morning feeling is the one I listen to the most.
Sing a Christmas Carol. I think that when it comes to like the classic 19th century orchestral choir, then yeah, definitely Sing a Christmas Carol. And I'll have to listen to that Christmas morning feeling again, because I literally just saw the movie today, and I just started like getting the music acquainted with me. So I'll probably have to listen to it more so I can get that familiarity.
I was literally vacuuming yesterday. I was like, Christmas for the feeling. Just kind of, that one gets trapped in there. I don't know why.
Yeah, I get it. All right, so go over to the next one. So now we have the Scrooge introduction song. So we have Humbug from Stingiest Man in Town, Ringle Ringle from Mr. Magoo's Christmas special, I Hate People from Scrooge, which also is known as I Hate Christmas in like the subsequent releases on Broadway. Nothing to Do with Me from A Christmas Carol, the musical, Bringing Back Christmas from Spirited, and then Tell Me from Scrooge, A Christmas Carol.
I am going to say this is just a me pick. It's pretty
tough because they're all pretty good.
Nothing to Do with Me is probably my favorite.
Yeah, that's actually
I know.
I know it's okay. You are entitled to your own opinion. For me, of somebody who again is not familiar with A Christmas Carol the musical, because I literally just saw it for the first time not too long ago, I can see where you're coming from, because it is a song that encompasses Scrooge, where he's saying like all these problems that you're having, it has nothing to do with me. I get it. I would say for me, I Hate People from Scrooge is also really good too, because it just emphasizes on how much he just hates people, and he calls them scavengers and fools and all these things. And it's like, it makes a lot of sense because, in his monologue where he says about like, any fool who celebrates Christmas should be boiled in his own pudding and have a stake of holly through his heart. So you can definitely tell how much he just doesn't give a shit about how people are suffering, and he just wants absolutely nothing to do with it. All right, so the carolers, obviously every once in a while you're going to have people singing songs, so, to transition the story. Stingiest Man in Town from Stingiest Man in Town, Father Christmas from Scrooge, Scrooge from the Muppets Christmas Carol, and Jolly Good Time from A Christmas Carol, the musical.
I think Father Christmas from Scrooge is probably the one I think about the most, and I think is like the most interesting take on that, where everyone else is like Jolly Good Time and Scrooge and Stingiest Man in Town are kind of all the same time. Father Christmas is kind of playing with that a bit.
I guess it's true, because when you think of like Father Christmas or Santa or Saint Nick, it's like supposed to be happy and jolly, but then you have this old curmudgeon walking in the street. It's like, oh, look at him, he's Father Christmas, he's awful, he's a skinflint. And yeah, it is different, I will give it that. Yes. Let's see. You are absolutely right that when it comes to the other three, they are more or less the same. So I will choose the Muppets Christmas Carol for Scrooge, because of just how they're able to play around the words of just how awful he is. So I'll give it credit for that. But you do have a point. I will say that Father Christmas is definitely the most unique one out of the group. So I will give you that. All right, so now we go over to Marley's song. So which one emphasizes Jacob Marley? So we have The Spirit's Lament from Shower of Stars, I Wear a Chain from Stingiest Man in Town, See the Phantoms from Scrooge, Marley and Marley from The Muppets Christmas Carol, Link by Link from Christmas Carol the musical, and okay, it doesn't really count, but we'll just put it in there because it's the closest equivalent to it, but Story of Your Life from Spirited.
I think I Wear a Chain from Stingiest Man in Town, and I also, we all love Marley and Marley. But
yes,
I'm being contrarian today.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, yeah, I would say for Marley and Marley, it's definitely the most unique because there's never been an adaptation where there's been two Marleys. And, having
Right.
Statler and Waldorf, I mean, of course, who's going to be Marley other than them? So, yes, that is a great choice. But I Wear a Chain is actually really, really great because it just emphasizes on how much torment and pain that he has to feel every time that he walks around with a chain and all the regrets that he has in life. Well, all the other ones is basically just Link by Link is also very similar too, and the Spirits Lament and See the Phantoms are basically songs that you just look at the ghosts and it's like, oh, these are the regrets of the ghosts of what they had to go through and all the things that they could have done when they were still alive but now they're dead. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say probably both as well. I Wear a Chain and Marley are definitely really good. Not a lot of songs from Ghost of Christmas Past, surprisingly. There's only one that I was able to find, which is Lights Long Ago from A Christmas Carol, the musical. I guess not a lot of people thought, oh, let's have a song for the Ghost of Christmas Past, but no, I couldn't find any other than that one.
I like this song though. She gives him a little striptease. It's weird because they make her so sexy in the TV musical, but in the stage show, it's like a little boy with a lamp. So he's like, it's just different vibes.
Okay. Sure. We'll give it that. Okay. All right. So, yeah, Fezziwig. And again, you would think that, because Fezziwig is a big party and everybody is celebrating, you would think there'll be a lot of songs with it. But no, a lot of people tend to dance more than sing. And there's only been 3 songs that I was able to find. December the 25th from Scrooge, Mr. Fezziwig's annual Christmas ball from A Christmas Carol the musical, and Christmas Eve at Fezziwig from A Christmas Carol, a new musical.
I'm giving it to Mr. Fezziwig's annual Christmas ball because that song's really, really catchy, and they sing rat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat a lot, and it's great.
Yeah, and the choreography on that is really good too. I will give it that too. The dancing is phenomenal.
And it just keeps on going and going. And we stopped the movie to have like these long dance breaks. It's great.
I'm going to give this one to December the 25th because I just love the way that they were able to emphasize on how important this celebration is. It's like, this is the best day of the year and, we celebrate and everything. It just makes it feel so lively. So that's what I love about it. Yeah, okay, now we go over to Scrooge's songs where he sings about the past, where when the Ghost of Christmas Past shows him his life, these are the songs that he sings. So we have What Shall I Give My Girl from Christmas from Shower of Stars, Golden Dreams from Stingiest Man in Town. It might have been from Stingiest Man in Town. One Little Boy, once again, going, oh wait, no, that's Christmas Present. I'm going to skip that one. Alone in the World from Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol, You from Scrooge, A Place Called Home from A Christmas Carol the musical. And again, I know it doesn't count, but this is the closest equivalent to it. Good Afternoon from Spirited, because that's the scene in which when Clint and the Ghost of Christmas Present go back into Scrooge's time in the 19th century, and he teaches him that good afternoon basically is the equivalent of fuck you. And so Clint basically goes around and says good afternoon to everybody, and they just punch each other and they yell at each other and they slap one another, and then they have a whole music and song and dance to it because why not? So what's your choice?
Oh, I really like the Golden Dream sequence from Stingiest Man in Town.
Yeah, especially since we talked earlier about how that metaphor of the golden wall was actually really good.
I agree. Like, that's the one I think about the most. As far as the ones I actually like as a song, I like A Place Called Home quite a bit. I don't like it when it's sung by Jennifer Love Hewitt. So I'm not going to count that here.
It doesn't count for this one. So, yeah.
So I think I'm going with Golden Dreams.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, I mean, I do agree. Golden Dreams is really good because it just emphasizes on the fact that, Ebenezer and Belle just fall in love with one another. While some of the other ones are focusing on either Scrooge's past and Scrooge losing the love of his life. And like I said, Good Afternoon doesn't really fit into that because it's a different context. Okay, now
let's go over to life, which is being alive.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, now let's go over to Belle's songs. And oh, babe, I know that there's going to be so many people in the comments down below who are going to vote on which particular one, and you know what I'm talking about. But let's go over to the nomination. So we have a very Merry Christmas from. Oh wait, no, that's. Oh yeah, What Shall I Give My Lad for Christmas, which is the same thing as What Shall I Give My Girl for Christmas because it's a duet. Then we have Golden Dreams again, where they sing together. Then we have the same thing, It Might Have Been. Winter Was Warm from Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. Happiness from Scrooge. When Love Is Gone from the Muppets Christmas Carol. A Place Called Home from A Christmas Carol, the musical. You Once Were from A Christmas Carol, the new musical. And then Later Never Comes from Scrooge, A Christmas Carol.
Since I can do it both. I'm gonna give this one to A Place Called Home, but I know everyone wants When Love Is Gone. But
everybody's gonna want When Love Is Gone. Yes,
and
the
also,
song that Jeffrey Katzenberg cut from the movie because he thought that nobody would like it, and then everybody loved it, and now the only way people can see it is on the special features on Disney Plus. So yeah, everybody's gonna want us to vote for that song because of just how significant it is.
I think that song is just fine. It's important to keep in, but I think we've overblown the significance of it because it was missing.
It's funny because there were several songs that were cut from the Muppets Christmas Carol that weren't implemented in. We'll get to that when we talk about the miscellaneous songs, and nobody is hankering for those.
I mean, there's reprises of When Love Is Gone in the movie, so I get the frustration of if you're gonna have the reprises, why not put the original song in there?
Right. Anyway, so yeah, what's your choice for this one?
I am going with A Place Called Home. I can do it. It's my choice. I like that song a lot.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, even though that you didn't like Jennifer Love Hewitt's performance in this.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm. It's kind of hard because I mean, yeah, I already said Golden Dreams for the other one, and that was really good, and I'm probably gonna go for Happiness from Scrooge because it just really emphasizes on how much that Belle just loves Scrooge so much and how much happiness is gonna bring. And in the Broadway version, it's a duet, so you get to hear both of them sing. And then old Scrooge comes along and sings about it with like this lament in his heart about like what could have been. So yeah, the Broadway version of Happiness is excellent, especially when you have all of the pieces put together. All right, now we go over to the Ghost of Christmas Present song. So yeah, this one we have a lot of them, and I guess it makes a lot of sense because you're not going to hear the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come sing. So A Very Merry Christmas, Oh Days May Come from Shower of Stars, Christmas Spirit from Stingiest Man in Town, One Little Boy from Stingiest Man in Town, I Like Life from Scrooge, It Feels Like Christmas from Muppets Christmas Carol, Abundance and Charity from A Christmas Carol the Musical, Merry Christmas Morning from A Christmas Carol, a new musical. And then again, I know that it doesn't fit in the context, but because the Ghost of Christmas Present is a main character in Spirited, I'm going to include his songs in here. Presence Lament, Ripple, and Unredeemable.
If I'm picking, I am going with, oh gosh, It Feels Like Christmas from Muppet Christmas Carol. This is like a really, I love that song. That song's great. That moment's great. It's charming. And a puppet singing. I'm loving it.
That's my choice, actually.
Hard to fight against it. It is the best one. And as much as I love A Christmas Carol, the musical, I think Abundance Charity is a little long and boring.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so now we go over to Scrooge's present songs, which, yeah, it's funny enough, there's not as much as his past songs, but then again, it makes a lot of sense because you have him singing mostly about Tiny Tim. So I guess it's a little bit more sadder than compared to like singing about Belle. So yeah, we have One Little Boy from Stingiest Man in Town, Christmas Together from A Christmas Carol the Musical, and again, I know it doesn't count, but bear with me, The Story of Your Life from Spirited.
I really like Story of Your Life. So I'm going to pick that one because it really does kind of turn tables, like have Scrooge figure out his needs in the context of that story. I think that one really works there.
Yeah, it does. It's a great song, and the fact that we heard this song before when Marley was singing it, and I also put that in there as well. But the fact that we have him just understanding on who he is and how he was actually pretty awful to some people, and how there is a possibility that he might change his ways. But yeah, it's a great song. But I will give a shout out to One Little Boy because it does tug at your heartstrings, especially if you see both versions where you get, I mean, it's basically like a reversal for the Ghost of Christmas Present, where he's singing all the stuff that Scrooge had said earlier about, like, if the boy is going to die, let him do it. That way it can decrease the surplus population. And, one person doesn't matter amongst millions. So it's actually a reverse of what we saw with the Ghost of Christmas Present. And Scrooge is the one who's realizing, no, this boy actually does matter. He matters in this world because he is filled with love and joy, and his presence just exudes happiness. And when in the animated Rankin Bass version, that song is performed when Tiny Tim dies, and it actually tugs at your heartstrings because you have the Ghost of Christmas Present singing about how, oh, it doesn't really matter, like, he's just one kid. What does one kid matter to millions of kids around the world? But Scrooge is like, no, it matters to this family because of just how wonderful he is to them. And so I will I'll just say both for that reason. I mean, to be fair, it's like what, 1, 2 out of 3. So it just goes to show you about how amazing it is. All right, so now we go over to Bob Cratchit's songs. So we have The Lord's Bright Blessing from Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol, Christmas Children from Scrooge, One More Sleep Till Christmas from the Muppets Christmas Carol, You Mean More to Me from A Christmas Carol the Musical, and As We Remember from A Christmas Carol, a New Musical.
One More Sleep Till Christmas gets the vibe of Kermit the Frog. You Mean More to Me gets the vibe of Bob Cratchit. Is my opinion.
So what would be your choice for this one?
I think You Mean More to Me is more the Cratchit song for me.
Yeah, it does. Really I do agree because, I mean, you have him singing about how great Tiny Tim is and about how he really appreciates him and about how it's not always about money and how everything he already has is, with his family feels like he's the richest man in the world. And that actually exuberates Bob Cratchit to a T. Like, that is who he is. I mean, he's a man who doesn't have a lot, but everything he has with his family is more than Scrooge will ever have with the millions that he has. So, yeah, I do agree. That actually does exuberate him the best. And now let's go over to Tiny Tim, which surprisingly, I didn't find a lot of songs with Tiny Tim. They're just kind of shocking, but they all pretty much have the same message. Bless Us Everyone from Shower of Stars, The Beautiful Day from Scrooge, and Bless Us All from Muppet's Christmas Carol. Yeah, that's it. That's crazy to think that is literally it.
Yeah. He gets a verse or two every now and then, but he never gets his own song. So I guess by default, it's got to be Bless Us All.
Yeah, it's default because everything else is pretty short. Yeah. So, yeah, moving on. So now we have Fred's songs, which, again, you would think that he would have a lot because, you have like this big party, but no, you don't. You have Old Fashioned Christmas from Stingiest Man in Town, The Birthday Party of the King from Stingiest Man in Town, I Love Christmas from Scrooge A Christmas Carol. And I guess if you want to add it in there, I was thinking about putting in the miscellaneous, but if you want to put it in there, the Minister's Cats from Scrooge. I don't know.
that is no.
No. I that's why I didn't add it in there.
I was gonna say that I wouldn't count that. I would say I Love Christmas is probably the best one of those. Yeah. I do like, Birthday Party of a King. Like, it is neat in that very specific version when it's not sung by B.H. Humbug.
Yeah, I mean, the Stingiest Man in Town version actually is better because, you see the context of Fred singing that song and, talking about how he wanted to invite his uncle for the party and how he's a comical old fellow who will change his ways soon. And so he's talking about like how important that this holiday is because it's about the birth of Christ. So, yeah, I mean, it is a really good song if you listen to it in context. But when you're listening to B.H. Humbug singing it, it's like, no. But yeah, I mean, I think, I do think that, I actually will probably choose that one because of, just the importance of the way that Fred was able to convey the message, and also the fact that it's actually a pretty different song than everything else. It's like, what other Christmas Carol adaptation do you hear about singing about the birth of Christ? It's okay. I'll give it points for that for sure. All right, now we go over to the Scrooge finale songs, where he finally wakes up and he realizes he's back, and he's willing to change his ways. So we have A Very Merry Christmas, Oh Days May Come from Shower of Stars, Mankind Should Be My Business from Stingiest Man in Town, Christmas Spirit, a reprisal of it from Stingiest Man in Town, I'll Begin Again from Scrooge, Thankful Heart from Muppet's Christmas Carol, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow, God Blesses Everyone from Christmas Carol the Musical, Oh My Knees from Christmas Carol, a new musical, and Do a Little Good from Spirited. And I already said my piece, so yeah, that's it.
Shocking no one. I am picking Yesterday, Tomorrow, and Today from A Christmas Carol, a new musical, because it brings back our favorite characters of Sam and Scrooge's mother, which I tend to think people forget. But when they show up, I always get a little lump in my throat of like, oh yeah, these are the people he's left behind and things that remnants of who he once was. Mm-hmm. And I really think that that's really effective, of these people looking at the old man that he's become in disappointment.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the fact that it actually ties itself really nicely, because it focuses on, the past, the present, and the future, which is everything that he just witnessed, just a night ago. So yeah, it does really encompass on everything that he went through in that one song, which all the other ones is basically about him singing about, oh, I'm going to change my ways, I'm going to, start a new life and all that kind of stuff, which this one does, but it ties it all together with all the things that he just experienced. Mm-hmm. And now we go over to miscellaneous. These are the songs that I didn't know where to put it. So yeah, we have Santa Claus from Shower of Stars. Yes, there is a Santa Claus from Stingiest Man in Town. We're Despicable from Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. Thank You Very Much from Scrooge. Room in Your Heart from Muppet's Christmas Carol. Chairman of the Board from Muppet's Christmas Carol. God Blesses Everyone, Christmas Carol the Musical. Better Off Dead, A Christmas Carol, a new musical. And Christmas Wishes from Scrooge, A Christmas Carol. And The View from Here from Spirited.
I mean, out of all those, Thank You Very Much rises to the top for me.
Yeah, it does for me too, especially since it's just so memorable about how incredibly dark the context is, where it's basically about people singing about, thank you so much for being dead because you were awful. And everybody just having a huge parade and dancing in his grave. It's like, that's hilarious.
That's how I want to go out.
Oh, wow. Wow, that you were going to go off with science. But yeah, let's briefly take a look at some of the other songs. So it's interesting about how Christmas Carol's Shower of Stars and Stingiest Man in Town sing about Santa, which is interesting. And then We're Despicable is actually a song featuring the laundress, the chairwoman, and the executioner, where they're trading off Scrooge's items to make a profit. And they're singing about how just awful they are, which I will give it credit. I've never heard a song sung by them, and I've never seen any other adaptation where it really focuses on them just singing about how awful they are. So I will give it I'll give it kudos for that. And and the other two songs from Muppet's Christmas Carol, those are the songs that were actually cut from the movie, but you could actually listen to the official soundtrack of it. So yeah, you have Room in Your Heart, which was sung by Honeyduke and Beaker, where they are the gentlemen who are asking Scrooge for money for charity. And then you have Chairman of the Board, which is performed by Sam the Eagle, where he played as Scrooge's school teacher. And again, that was cut off from the film. So yeah, I mean, I can understand why it was cut off from the film, because and it's not that they're not good songs or anything like that, but I guess they probably wanted to do it for the sake of pace.
And those are two moments where we don't need that meat.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I understand the importance of the charitors, because they're collecting money for charity and they actually do have a significance. But the school teacher, no, because there is no school teacher, because in the book everybody's gone for the holidays except for Scrooge while he's reading off Alibaba. So it's like, where did the school teacher come from? Like, yeah, I can understand why they cut this one off. And then you have like all the other ones, which seems self-explanatory. God Blesses Everyone from A Christmas Carol, the musical. Better Off Dead is a song from A Christmas Carol, a new musical. This is when, you have Scrooge going into the ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, where he goes into the future, and everybody's just around the cemetery just singing about, oh, you're better off dead. So he's trying to figure out who that is right before he figures out that it's himself. And then you have Christmas Wishes from Scrooge, A Christmas Carol, which is one of the new songs that was introduced in Scrooge. And then you have View from Here from Spirited, which is sung several times, actually. You have Kimberly, who is the assistant of Clint, where she sees the view from her office, and she's singing about how the awful things that she has to do for her job, just so that she can be able to make it up in the world, and thinking about how she wants to quit, and then she changes her mind at the last minute and then goes back. And so, yeah, those are the context of the songs. And yeah, I would say that out of all of them, yeah, Thank You Very Much is just so awesome with this upbeat music, but it's so morbidly dark when you know the context.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, so now we go into our last segment, favorite overall.
Well, how about I remind you of where your list we left your list.
Yeah, that's fine.
Based on the tier. And you tell me if you agree with this order.
Sure.
So, this is yours. Muppet Christmas Carol, Scrooge 1970, Spirited, The Stingiest Man in Town 1956, A Christmas Carol 2004, Christmas Carol 55, I think the Shower Stars.
56, 54, yes, yeah, 54.
The Stingiest Man in Town, Rankin Bass. Oh gosh. The Scrooge, A Christmas Carol 2022, Mr. Magoo Christmas Carol, and A Christmas Carol...
A new musical.
Last one. A new musical, yeah, agreed. Do you agree with that list?
I do, actually, yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So you say Muppets is number one?
Well, I mean, I would say they're in the A tiers, but I mean, as for like which is my favorite, I mean, I would just say like Muppets and Scrooge, they have like the most consistently great songs, and it makes a lot of sense, like, in the context of, how the songs are performed and who wrote the songs and the presentation of it. I would just say they're both tied as like my favorite adaptations. And Spirited, like I said, it was a major surprise for me.
Yeah, I think it's between Spirited, A Christmas Carol, a new musical, and Muppets for me. Like, those are the top three as far as they go. Scrooge is not something I grew up on. It is something I kind of respect and appreciate. But It's in the category because Thank You Very Much is so wonderful as a sequence.
Yes, it is. Yes.
And the rest, while some I really respected and liked, they didn't really stick with me as much as those four.
Okay, then. Yeah. So I would say overall, those are our favorites. And for those who are listening to this podcast, let us know in the comments on what are your favorite Christmas Carol musicals. And if there are some that we didn't even mention, then please let us know. Maybe we'll do this another time and we'll look at the other musicals that we weren't able to talk about. Who knows? Maybe some of them will actually be online for us to watch. I'm actually really curious about The Misadventure of the Wholesome Twins and Dolly Parton's Smoky Mountain Christmas Carol. I'm curious about those. Because
I mean, every year there's going to be 50 new adaptations.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be. But no, Jesse, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate you. I had a great time.
Yeah, so please tell people where they can find you, plug and promote your stuff.
Yes, you can find me on the Cheese Wheel Podcast on the Broadway Podcast Network. If you go to bpn.fm/cheese, you'll find us there. You can find my feature film that I directed, Daughters of the Domino, by going to daughtersofthedomino.com. And if you just want to say hi to me, just type my name into Google. You'll find contact info.
All right, then. And yeah, and as for me, you already know about my stuff, but for those who are coming in from Jesse's followers and you want to know about me, so you can follow me at oldschoollane.net. I have a YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/oldschoollane, facebook.com/oldschoollane. I'm on Blue Sky at oldschoollane.net. And I'm also on Instagram at old_school_lane. You can check out the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, all those places. So thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Again, this is the last episode of Casual Chats for 2025. So we hope that you have a happy holidays and a happy new year. Until then, see you in 2026. So take care, everyone.
Thank you very much.